we're doing okay.
I need my sermon. Familiar story. When Rabbi Israel Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement, saw that the Jewish people were threatened by danger, he would go to a particular secret place in the forest where he lit a special fire. He recited a mystical prayer and he asked for a miracle, and the danger passed and the Jews were saved. The Baal Shem Tov's successor was the Maggid of Mezrich, Dov Ber. And when he had to intervene with heaven for a miracle, he went to that same place in the forest that he had been shown by his teacher. And he said, Ribono shel olam, Master of the universe, I do not know how to light the fire, but I have found the place in the forest, and I do know the prayer. And he recited the prayer, and again, the miracle was accomplished. Well, the next generation's leader was Reb Moshe Lieb of Sassov, the Sassova, who went into the forest. He went into the forest to save his people, and when he got there, he said, Ribono shel olam, I do not know the words of the prayer, and I do not know how to light the fire, but I have been able to find this place in the forest, and may that be enough. And it was enough. The fourth generation was Reb Yisrael of Rizhin, the Rizhiner Rebbe, who was the grandson of the Maggid of Mezrich and named after the Baal Shem Tov. And he sat in the comfort of his living room with his hands on his head. And he said, Ribono shel olam, Ribono shel olam, Ribono shel olam, I have forgotten the words of the prayer, and I don't know how to light the fire, and I can't even find the place in the forest. But I do remember the story, and let this be enough. And it was enough, and the miracle happened, and the Jews were saved. A good story, like a good nigun, a good melody, or a stirring piece of music like the Kol Nidre that we heard, is always worth coming back to. And this is not the first time I've told this story in a sermon, even, I have to admit, in a Kol Nidre sermon. But the story is different because we are different, because our world is different, and because the story impacts us differently as we begin Yom Kippur in different spaces, yearning to be together. As much as we would love, most of us, to believe in miracles and in magic, that we can simply make the danger and everything that frightens us and disturbs us just go away, most of us, I think, don't quite believe in that magical thinking, however seriously we might take our rituals and our prayers. Usually this powerful story of the Baal Shem Tov is told to teach that even if we've lost our traditions, storytelling, telling the story can save us. But I've been thinking about it in a very different way this year, recently, almost in an opposite way. I've been thinking about it like this. We have the prayers, we have the words of the script and the rituals, yet somehow we've lost the narratives. We've lost the narratives that nourish these prayers, that give them life and connect us beyond the challenging and the sometimes, frankly, alienating language. our prayers tell deep, empowering, sustaining stories, and our stories can be prayers. The narratives of creation, redemption, forgiveness and compassion after the incident of the golden calf, the moving tales of our matriarchs and our patriarchs, each with their unique struggles and their yearnings. All of these core stories in our tradition are like restorative supplements that allow the prayers and the rituals to live and to breathe within us. Sometimes I think that our version of the Reb Yisrael Evrizhin at the end of the story might be, I have the words of the prayers and the rituals, but I've forgotten the stories. I've forgotten the stories. So how do we remember the stories? Our rational minds can easily create barriers as we question the historical accuracy of these narratives. But whether literally true or not is less relevant than the impact that they can have on us, especially now, in this moment. It's pretty disturbing to me, the stories and the fake news that our culture is somehow able to absorb, and how many Americans believe them, like QAnon, and this astonishing conspiracy theory that a cabal of Satan-worshipping pedophiles are trying to take over the world, really? So how about we suspend our disbelief and bring and tune into the frequency of healthy spiritual stories about our relationship to nature, our relationship to Torah, to freedom and to forgiveness, to give us strength in this impossibly hard time that we're living in. Each of our 5 services of Yom Kippur, starting soon with Ma'ariv and ending in about 24 and a half hours with Ne'ilah. Each of these prayer services contain the liturgy of Slichot, prayers of forgiveness. According to the Talmud, when Moses came down from the mountain to the horrifying scene of the whole community reveling before the golden calf, and he smashed the tablets, it was on the 10th of Tishrei, on Yom Kippur. And the words that we repeat in Slichot are Moses' passionate pleas for forgiveness and for compassion. If that ultimate breach can be forgiven, then surely all of the ways that we have transgressed, missed the mark, can also be forgiven. An even deeper dimension of this narrative is the broken tablets themselves, which according to Rabbi Yosef in the Talmud were carried in the ark. Both the tablets and the fragments of the tablets were deposited in the ark. Roger Kamenetz, author of The Jew in the Lotus, wrote a beautiful poem about that notion of those broken tablets in the ark. The broken tablets were also carried in the ark insofar as they represented everything shattered, everything lost. They were the law of broken things, the leaf torn from the stem in a storm, a cheek touched in fondness once, but now the name forgotten. How they must have numbed, clattered. How they must have rumbled, clattered on the way, even carried so carefully through the wasteland. How they must have rattled around until the pieces broke into pieces, the edges softened, crumbling, dust collected at the bottom of the ark, ghosts of old letters, old laws, insofar as a law broken is still remembered. These laws were obeyed, and insofar as memory preserves the pattern of broken things, these bits of stone were preserved through many journeys and ruined days, even, they say, into the promised land. So as we chant the Shalosh Esrei Midot, the 13 attributes of God's compassion, in a moment, We remember that Yom Kippur so long ago when the tablets were broken, when we were broken and still we were forgiven, as we bring our own broken fragments, our cracked selves into this Yom Kippur, as we confess and as we seek renewal. In Book of Mercy, the incredible singer and poet Leonard Cohen writes, "All my life is broken unto you. Do not let the spark of my soul go out in the even sadness. Let me raise the brokenness to you, to the world where the breaking is for love. Do not let the words be mine, but change them into truth." I'm sure that almost all of us would name the Shema as the most central and important Jewish prayer, and some of us recite it every day, morning and night. What is less known is that the Shema does not stand alone, and that section of our liturgy is called Shema u'v'chatecha, the Shema and her blessings, 2 before and 1 after, each of which is a narrative, a movement from creation to revelation to redemption, which add personal and communal layers to the experience of prayer. In Shacharit, our morning service, the first blessing acknowledges the source of creation, and the 2-part blessing ends with the words Hamachadesh betuvo b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit or chadash al Tzion ta'ir v'niskechu lanu mehera le'oro baruch atah Hashem yotzeh ha'me'orot. In infinite goodness, the source renews continually, every single day, the works of creation. And a new light will emerge over Tzion, over Zion. May we all merit its light. Blessed is the one who forms all of the lights. It's such a compelling idea that every day, creation, the works of creation, the act of creation is renewed, renews itself, is renewed for us, and maybe even by us, as we witness a newly unfolding, emerging, recreating symphony every time we allow ourselves to be present in nature, walking on a trail, by a lake, in a forest, on top of a mountain, breathing in clean air where each breath offers a new potential, each breath helps us integrate body and soul, and the Or Chadash at the end, the new light that wakes up our consciousness for something as yet unknown, surprising, redemptive, that exists in a seed with every sunrise, restoring faith, trust and hope. Some of you know that I got a dog just before Rosh Hashanah, and his name is Baruch. And now, of course, every time I recite a blessing, I say his name, Baruch Atah. Whenever we see something beautiful, in the Jewish tradition, we say the bracha when we see a river or a lake, a forest, a mountain. We say the bracha, the blessing, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oseh ma'aseh v'reshit, which means that we're acknowledging the source for performing the work of creation, as if my witnessing it right now creates it anew. I'm neither the first nor the last to comment on the fact that a dog can be a teacher. Baruch definitely teaches me to be more present and patient in nature, as every little smell, sight and sound pulls him into the sensual moment with wonder. My human teacher, Rabbi Jonathan Wittenberg, who wrote a book called Things My Dog Has Taught Me About Being a Better Human, he wrote, "Life without wonder is not worth living," said Abraham Joshua Heschel. "It's a quality which dogs inspire, and I sometimes think of my walks with them as prayers, full of discoveries and meditations, which leave my whole being, body and soul, more alert." The story of creation tells itself in our prayers. The blessing immediately before we actually say the Shema in the morning is about reenacting the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai, inviting the possibility of an eternal echo of that moment of transformative awareness when the Israelites became a covenantal people, a sacred community with the same mystery of Torah revealing herself to us every single day in a bat kol, in a heavenly voice. What does she call us to? And what does she ask us to become? Connecting ourselves to that moment can help us in these very difficult times. Remember the power of that brit, that covenant, and the ways in which the Torah offers itself as a healing balm, bringing us into a path of deep study and of mitzvah, of sacred divine pathways where ritual and deep ethical responsibilities for ourselves and for the other provide a structure and can provide a solace for these times. And then the last piece of this trifecta, the Holy Trinity, you might say, is Geula, redemption. The blessing between the Shema and the Amidah brings verses from the narrative of the redemption from Egyptian slavery, a deep dive into crossing miraculously parting seas, escaping tyrannous attack on one side and death by drowning on the other, and triumphantly singing and dancing our way into joyful freedom, survival against all odds, resistance, resilience, redemption, overcoming the obstacles that oppress, diminish, invade, infect, and we pass through to the expansive space on the other side. This bracha seems to promise that our national story is that we were redeemed in the past and we will be again in the present and in the future, restoring hope in the dream of being able to sing and to dance once more on the other side. Creation, revelation, redemption, nature, ritual, and hope weave themselves into the fabric of our daily prayers and can help us, especially now, but always, help us to navigate the precarious, uncertain journeys. We stand like Moses, painfully aware of our own brokenness and regret and shame, and in this year that has been so hard, where we cannot even join the communal chorus of confession together, and yet we enter into the ancient story that says, come on God, if you're up there, this has been a really hard year, and we have tried our best, and of course we've fallen short, but we know that you can forgive and restore us, and that you will have compassion on us. So let's pray our stories and live into the stories of our prayer. I can't promise that the prayers and the stories together will bring miracles and that all the danger will pass, but they can't hurt. G'mar Chatima Tova. We're going to continue now with our Ma'ariv, our evening service, which begins, as always, with the Baruch Hu. And wherever you are in your spaces, I invite you to rise and to respond to this Baruch Hu as we call each other together in prayer on this Yom Kippur night, page 207.
Et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
אתה אדוני אלוהינו מכל העם, אשר בדבר ובחוכמה פותח שערים, ובתבונה משנה עיתים ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמורותיהם בקיר כצאנם, בורא יום ולילה ולרוב מן חופשך, ואושיב מפני אור.
ומעביר יום, ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים. תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המריב ערבים.
אמן. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל עמך אהבת, תורה מצוות, חוקים ומשפטים אותנו למדתה. על כן אדוני ראינו בשוכבנו קומנו, נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ומצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי
הם חיינו, ויארך ימינו, ובהם נגיע יומם ולילה. ואהבתך, אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
אמן.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
ואהבת את אדונך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ומאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווינו לך. ישנם תמליך באת בם בשבתך ותחילתך בדרך שמך. שאלתם להיות על ידיך, והילותו תבוא בין עיניך, וכתבת מזבותיך ובשעריך. והיה אם שמוע תשמעו מצוותי אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם היום, לבא אדוני לכם ולעבודו בכל לבבכם ובכל נפשכם. תזכרו ועשיתם כל מצוותיי וקדושי.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
ואמונה כל זאת וקיים עלינו. We're on the bottom of page 209. We'll be picking up in the middle of page 210 those verses that speak of redemption, verses from the Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea, where we crossed over.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה, זה אליענו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גואל ישראל.
Amen. On page 211, Hashkivenu, a prayer that asks us to be saved and protected, including protected from plagues and diseases and all the things that can harm us and stop us living the lives we want to be living in this world. Haseh me'aleinu oyev deve v'chera v'av yagon.
ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך Baruch atah Adonai, hapore sukkot shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Amen. Page 212.
כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לטהר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם. לבני אדוני תתפארו, יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, וילמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבם מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה, יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה לעילה, מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירון בעולמה ואמרו אמן.
We come to the first of our 5 Amidas that are going to be part of this Yom Kippur. The Amidah for Ma'ariv will have a slightly shorter than usual silent Amidah. It starts on page 213, and of course we'll include our first prayers of confession that come into this as part of our liturgy. If you're still in your own personal prayer, obviously, please stay there. We're just, even not being able to see you, we have no idea how long to sustain personal prayer for, and it's hard to sustain personal prayer, silent prayer for too long virtually, so we're doing what we can, but obviously stay as long as you need in your own prayer space. Before we continue on to Slichot, it's my great pleasure to introduce Michelle, the President of our Board of Directors, Michelle Goldman.
Hello. Absence, hear thou my protestation. Against thy strength, distance and length, do what thou canst for alteration. For hearts of truest metal, absence doth join, and time doth settle. The heartfelt sentiment of John Donne, the 16th century English poet, is so pertinent to our world today in his poem, Present in Absence. Distance and absence has made it difficult for us to be present, even in our technological age. How we all long for the days where we can meet in person, catch up with one another in person, a handshake, a hug. Our congregation, both a physical structure and as a personal one, is also an important part of our lives. It's where we celebrate baby namings, Brit Milah, B'nai Mitzvah. It's where we remember those that have passed from our lives. We laugh at the antics during the Purim spiel. We cry during Yom HaShoah commemoration. In Hebrew, for synagogue, is Beit HaKnesset, literally house of gathering. But we are not gathering. We are all in our safe environments. This is the beginning of one of the holiest days of the year, and we are separated. As in John Donne's poem, we are absent from that place and longing to be together again. It will take strength, resolve, and heart to keep us together. Our kavanah here today is heartfelt and deep. I believe our wish to support one another is shared by every single one of us. But that has to have been true all year. Our shul started the year off knowing we would have a big change in our office operations with both Kit and Mary leaving. We started the process early, but then the pandemic hit. But maybe it was beshert, meant to be. Our original candidates didn't work out. But here we have our new executive director, Stacy Flint, with Michael Rosenzweig at her side, keeping our community open, and as well as the volunteers who have answered the phones and helped get our bills paid and generally kept the office going. And then, because we needed another challenge, we revamped our operations with a new internet platform. Hopefully it's up by now and you're watching from it, to keep you informed and so you can continue to reach out to us. But before all of that, mid-March, we shifted gears, first going from full speed to hard stop, and no Shabbat service that first weekend. Within a week, thanks to people like Aaron Pinsker and Julia Spiegel, we were up and Zooming Kabbalat Shabbat and live streaming Shabbat morning. Thanks in large part to Rabbi Mark, we had more adult education programs, including things like daily Pirkei Avot and weekly Parshat HaShavua, and we've never been able to offer. Also the Musar, led by Janelle Mager and Alan Katz, all went online, as did our Tuesday text study. And then our Rich Elul program leading up to Rosh Hashanah. We now have 3 weekday services: Tuesday morning Creative Minyan, Wednesday afternoon Mincha, and our traditional Thursday morning Minyan, all alive and strong. You should check those out on a computer near you sometime. Our first Friday programs had to be modified to First Friday on Thursday, well, mostly Thursday, and they didn't include dinner. Oof. But we still learned a lot about Jews from Shanghai and when Jews became funny. Yes, there were glitches, audio cut out, password confusion, but here we are today. Just as important for our mission and for our kihila, our community, we decided it was hugely important to make sure our congregation was okay. We were under a stay-at-home order, so we started a calling tree. With the help of Karen Robinson and her Chesed committee, we called every single member of our congregation at least once, and are still trying to keep tabs on those that might be more vulnerable. Karen ramped up operations to check to see if people needed food, tech support to stay connected. We were there. And when we talked about diversity and inclusion, our congregants actually have taken action. An ad hoc response to racism committee formed and brought us an amazing program, Show Up and Listen, letting our community hear the concerns of our fellow Black Americans and the worries of mothers of mixed-race children. First, they showed us how to listen and brought us an important workshop to do just that. You can still see it on our Facebook if you're interested. Their symbol on our website and now on our building comes from the Parsha we read just a few weeks ago in Shoftim. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdof, justice, justice shall thou pursue. And we cannot forget our religious school. They also quickly shifted to online learning. Our Director of Education, Esther Maria Alterman, and our Education Chair, Dana Emenegger, had to think about a new world for the children, and story time, as well as Kabbalah Zoom program, also were offered and enjoyed. Dana, also the mom of one of our 4 B'nai Mitzvahs we already had virtually. They were all amazingly spectacular. Though many couldn't have had their extended families join in their simcha in person, it did offer the opportunity to others who might otherwise not have been able to join them in the ceremony. And I cannot forget our ever-responsible, thorough COVID-19 task force, initially led by Janelle and now by Robin Roden. They helped us keep updated with what the local and state ordinances require, as well as other places of worship in our area. Whew. Then, in case that wasn't enough, we started ramping up for the Yamim Hanorim, the high holidays. Normally a huge event for any synagogue. Here at Bonai Shalom, Larry Cohen and many others have gotten it down to a formula. Who's doing what and when? So much for the formula. So starting back in June, with the help of Gali Bay to organize us, Larry and Rosalie Ozian spearheaded the ritual portion with Rabbi Mark. We made sure we had Jan Kushner on board. But then people like Sam Flaxman stepped up to help find and define the means by which we are bringing you these wonderful high holiday services. Our goal was to try to balance halakha, tradition, a spiritual essence, none of which is easily conveyed through the medium of the internet. We knew that some way or another, we wanted each of you to be able to participate any way you could. In most cases, a simple New Year's greeting to your fellow congregants, but also the Avinu Malkeinu sing-along that you'll see shortly, and the in-person but physically safe shofar service that we had by the creek last week. Stacy, Michael, and Kit all kept us informed and with their brilliant communication. Thank you to every one of you that made all of this possible. It's been an amazing experience. Whether we continue to be mostly online, or if we can start to meet more in person, we are always trying to perfect and to improve your experience, as well as offering you, as a member of our community, what you would like to see and enjoy. And now I must tell you the catch, that these wonderful offerings are not free. As most of you know, membership dues only cover about half of our operating expenses, and our school tuition even less. Our community, our kihila, needs additional funds from you to fund these services and continue to explore new programs that will enrich our lives. As you know, there are many in the community that have not had an easy time this year. As COVID-19 started to shut down every business, people were laid off or had to close their business. So far, our community has been fairly lucky with relatively few people falling ill due to the coronavirus. But in order for us to be here for you or others when illness does strike, we need your help. I am happy to say that your board of directors has already stepped up with 100% participation and already committed to the appeal to keep Bonai Shalom viable, but we still need your help. If you already donated as part of the High Holiday registration, thank you. But if you haven't, please consider being extra generous this year. Like everything else, we've had to change the flip-down postcards method that we usually use every year. Instead, everyone will be receiving a donation letter and an envelope in the mail this week. We hope this, or donating online, makes the donation process as easily as possible. We are aiming higher and farther. We have plans for Sukkot and in-person Simchat Torah celebration, and God willing, we'll be able to start celebrating our 40th year with the first celebration during Hanukkah in December. I personally would love to see each and every one of you at these celebrations of our past and our future. For this is who we are, Congregation Bonai Shalom, the builders of peace. Gamar Chatima Tova.
Gemach Hatima Tova. Thank you, Michelle. We're going to continue now. We're going to go into our Slichot, the service that I spoke a little bit about, these amazing prayers of pardon and forgiveness. And we're going to be on page 223. And to start Slichot, we're going to be brought there by Marvin and Shirley Gang.
Let our yearning rise to you in the evening, our exclamations come to you in the morning, then wondrous joy shall appear by evening.
Let our voices rise to you in the evening, our unsung deeds come to you in the morning, so our true redemption shall appear by evening.
Let our sufferings rise to you in the evening, our remorse come to you in the morning, then our pardon shall appear by evening.
Let our outcries rise to you in the evening. Take note of them for your sake in the morning. Pour your mercy upon us by evening.
Thank you, Marvin and Shirley. Gemach Hatima Tova. We're on page 223, Ya'aleh. And Jan is going to chant the first 9 lines or so, and then we'll skip towards the end.
Yale daganunenu me'erev ve'yavo Shavotenu miboker ve'yeroe rinunenu adorem Yale Yale koleno me'erev v'yavo tzidkatenu miboker ve'yeroe pidyonenu adorem Yale ויבוא סליחתנו מבוקר ויראה נקותנו עד ערב.
6 lines from the bottom of the page.
יעלה, יעלה, יעלה דווקנו מערב ויבוא, ויבוא, ויבוא גילנו מבוקר ויראה בקשתנו עד ערב. יעלה, יעלה נקותנו מערב ויבוא, ויבוא אליך מבוקר ויראה אלינו עד ערב.
Page 225. Hanashama lach v'haguf po'alach. The soul is yours, the body is your creation. Have compassion on your handiwork.
הנשמה לך והגוף הלך חוסה חוסה הנשמה לך והגוף שלך אדוני עשה למען שמך. אותנו על שמך אדוני עשה למען שמך בעבור כבוד שמך כי אלחנו ורחום שמך למען שמך אדוני וסלחת לעווננו כי רבו דרכך אלוהינו להאריך אפך לרעים ולטובים ותהילתך למענך אלוהינו עשה ולא לנו ראה עמידתנו דלים וריקים.
We rise and we're on page 226, the heart of the Slichot liturgy, the 13 attributes of God's compassion that come in this page 226.
דרך אפיים אתה ובעל הרחמים נקראת ודרך תשובה הורית גדולת רחמך וחסדיך תזכור היום ובכל יום לזרע ידידיך תפן אלינו ברחמך כי אתה הוא בעל הרחמים בתחנון ובתפילה פונך נקדם, קודתו לענן מקדם, מחרון אפך שוב, כמו בתורתך כתוב, ובצל כנפיך נחסה ונדלונן, כי יום וירד אדוני בענן. תעבור על פשע ותמחה אשם, כי יום ויתייסב עמו שם. תאזין שבתנו ותקשיב מנו מאמר, כי יום ויקרא בשם אדוני. ויבוא אדוני על פניו ויקרא אדוני אל רחום וחנון, אל כפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נוצא חסד אלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא ונקה, וסלחת לעווננו ולחטאתנו ולכלתנו. סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, מחל לנו מלכנו כי פשענו, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח ורב חסד לכל קוראיך.
Feel free to sit down. We're going to continue on page 227, the first two stanzas of Ki hine kachome beyad hayotzer.
כי הנה כך אומר ביד היוצר, ברצותו מרחיב וברצותו מקצר. כן אנחנו בידך חסד נוצר, לברית הבית ועל תפן ליצר. כי הנה כאבן ביד המסתה, ברצותו חס וברצותו מחטאת. כן אנחנו בידך נחיה וממוטט, לברית הבית ועל תפן ליצר.
As the helm in the hand of the sailor who holds the course or abandons it at will, so are we in your hand, good and forgiving God. Recall your covenant, do not heed the accuser. As glass in the hand of the glass blower who shapes or melts it at will, so were we in your hand, partner of sin and transgression. Recall your covenant, do not heed the accuser. La brit habet ba'al tefen la yetzer.
כי הנה כירייה ביד הרוקם, ברצותו מיישר וברצותו מעקם. כן אנחנו בידך אלקנו ונוקם, לברית הבית ועל תפן ליצר. כי הנה ככסף ביד הצורף, ברצותו משגשג וברצותו מצרף. כן אנחנו בידך ממצילים מזות טרף, לברית הבית ועל תפן ליצר.
We rise and turn once to page 229, and once again we have our 13 attributes.
אל מלך יושב על כיסא רחמים, מתנהג בחסידות, מוחל עוונות עמו, מעביר ראשון ראשון, מרבה מחילה לחטאים, וסליחה לפושעים, עושה צדקות עם כל בשר ורוח, לא חרתם תגמול. אל הורית לנו לומר 13, זכור לנו היום ברית 13, כמו שהודעת לענן מקדם, כמו שכתוב, וירד אדוני בענן, ויתייצב עמו שם, ויקרא בשם אדוני. ויבוא אדוני על פניו, ויקרא אדוני, אדוני, רחום וחנון, ארך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נוצא חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא ונקה, וסלחת לעווננו ולחטאתנו ונחלתנו. סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, מחל לנו מלכנו כי פשענו, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, ורב חסד לכל קוראיך.
Feel free to sit down. Like I can tell you whether you should sit down or stand up. I don't even know where you are. We're going to continue on page 231 at the bottom in the English. Adonai, where shall I find you? High and hidden is your place. And where shall I not find you? The world is full of your glory. I sought your closeness. I called to you with all my heart. And going out to meet you, I found you coming toward me. And once again, we rise for another round of injection of 13 attributes of compassion. 232 at the top.
אל מלך יושב על כיסא רחמים, מתנהג בחסידות, מוחל עוונות עמו, מביא ראשון ראשון, מרבה מחילה לחטאים, וסליחה לפושעים, עושה צדקות עם כל בשר ורוח, לא חרתם תגמול. אל הורית לנו לומר 13, זכור לנו היום ברית 13, כמו שהודעת לענן מקדם, כמו שכתוב, וירד אדוני בענן, ויתייצב עמו שם, ויקרא בשם אדוני. ויבוא אדוני על פניו, ויקרא אדוני, אדוני, רחום וחנון, ארך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נוצא חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא ונקה, וסלחת לעווננו לחטאתנו ונחלתנו. סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, מחל לנו מלכנו פי פשענו, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, ורב חסד לכל קוראיך.
Listen to our prayers, God. Hear our pleading, our sorrow-filled voices.
Our sovereign, our God, it is to you we pray.
May your ear hear and your eyes open to the prayers of your servants, the people of Israel.
In your heavenly abode, may you hear their pleas and prayers and respond to what they ask.
May you forgive your people who have sinned against you.
As a parent looks kindly on a child, may you, God, look kindly on us.
Salvation is Adonai's alone. Pour blessings on your people forever.
Blessed is the one who trusts in you, Adonai Tzvaot.
Adonai, save us. Surely the Sovereign One will respond to us on the day we call out. As befits your abundant love, please forgive this people's sin, just as you have always forgiven this people from the time of the Exodus from Egypt until now, when Moses recited this prayer, as it is recorded. Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha. Page 233.
כפר חטאינו ביום הזה ותרנו, כמו שכתוב, כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לטהר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תטהרו. הביאנו אל הקודשך ושמחנו בבית תפילתך, כמו שכתוב, כי ביתי בית תפילה יקרא לכל העמים.
I'm going to open the ark now as we sing Shema Kolenu. Hear our voices.
Shema Kolenu Adonai Eloheinu Chuz rachem aleinu v'kaber berachamim uvratzon et tefilateinu.
Shema Kolenu Adonai Eloheinu Chus v'rachem aleinu v'kaber berachamim uvratzon et tefilateinu.
Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashova Chadesh yameinu kekerem.
Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh yameinu kekedem.
Al tashlichenu milfanecha v'ruach kodshecha al tikach mimenu.
Al tashlichenu milfanecha v'ruach kodshecha al tikach mimenu.
Al tashlichenu li'et zikna kichlot kochenu al tazvenu.
Al tashlichenu le'et zikna kichlot kochenu al tazvenu. Marinu azina Adonai yotzolim reifinu egon libeinu lefanecha Adonai tzorenu aleinu ki lecha Adonai hachol lanu ta'atanei.
Eloheinu ve'elahei avotenu al tazvenu ve'al titshenu ve'al tachlimenu ve'al tafer britcha itanu kovenu l'toratecha lamdenu mitzvotecha horeinu dirachecha hat libenu lirah et shemecha umolet levavenu lavatecha v'nashuv elecha be'emet uve'lev shalem. ולמען שמך הגדול תמחה ותסלח לעווננו ככתוב בדברי קודשך למען שמך אדוני וסלחת לעווני כי רבו.
Page 234.
אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו סלח לנו מחל לנו כפר לנו כי אנו עמך ואתה אלוהינו אנו בניך ואתה אבינו אנו עבדיך ואתה אדוננו אנו קהלך ואתה חלקנו אנו נחלתך ואתה גורלנו אנו שונאך ואתה רואינו אנו חרמך ואתה נוטרנו אנו פעולתך ואתה יוצרנו אנו רעייתך ואתה דודנו אנו סגולתך ואתה קרובנו אנו עמך ואתה מלכנו אנו ממירך ואתה ממירנו.
Before we come to our first vidui, our first confession together outside our silent Amidah. First a reading to prepare us. Who are we? Read by Lexi Adler.
Our God and God of our ancestors, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. For we are your people, and you are our God. We are your children, and you are our parent. We are your servants, and you are our master. We are your congregation, and you are our portion. We are your heritage, and you are our destiny. We are your flock, and you are our shepherd. We are your vineyard, and you are our guardian. We are your creatures, and you are our creator. We are your spouse, and you are our beloved. We are your cherished ones, and you are near to us. We are your people, and you are our sovereign. We are the ones you address, and you are the one to whom we speak.
We're going to continue on with our vidui. It's traditional to be standing for the vidui as we say, we are insolent, you are gracious and compassionate, we are obstinate, you are patient, we are sinful, you are merciful. Our days are a passing shadow, but you are the one who truly is for time without end.
Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu, tavo lefonecha tefilotenu, ve'al titalam mitchinatenu, שאין אנחנו עוזפונים, וכשעורף לומר לפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, צדיקים אנחנו ולא חטאנו, אבל אנחנו ואבותינו חטאנו. איי 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 אשמנו, בגדנו, גזלנו, דיברנו דופי, הבינו והרשענו, זדנו, חמסנו, טפלנו שקר. איי 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 יצנו רק כיזבנו, לצנו, מרדנו, ניאצנו, שרנו, אבינו, פשענו, צררנו, קישינו עורף. איי 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 רשענו, שיחתנו, תיעבנו, טעינו, תיתנו. שננו מצוותיך ומשפטיך הטובים, ולא שבה לנו, ואתה צדיק על כל הבא עלינו, כי אמת עשית, ואנחנו הרשענו.
Bottom of page 236. You know the mysteries of the universe, deepest secrets of everyone alive. You probe our innermost depths. You examine our thoughts and our feelings. Nothing escapes you. Nothing is secret from you. Therefore, may it be your will, our God and God of our ancestors, to forgive us for all of our sins, to pardon us for all of our iniquities, and to grant us atonement for all of our transgressions. We come now to the Al-Khaitz, page 237, a list that we will return to many times. As I say, every year there may be one or two that really just you need to focus on. For now, it's a long list, and usually when we're all together, we are confessing in the plural, Al-Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, but we're not here together, so we just imagine ourselves together, and as we confess all of these things, some of which we may feel very strongly we've done, and some which may not relate to us, and there are so many that relate to the way we speak, the way we use our hearts, the way we use our other parts of our body to do things that are less than we might want to be in this world. And it's a very, very powerful idea, this idea of confessing, and the tapping of the heart, which, as I also say every year, is not meant to be a self-flagellation, although some people do see it like that. It's more like just a gentle little invitation to the heart to be a little more open, so we won't do the same things that we did this year that we wish we hadn't done. And it's being gentle on ourselves and loving ourselves. This year especially, come on guys, let's give ourselves a break. It's been a hard year. We don't need to punish ourselves. Let's just forgive ourselves and forgive each other. Page 237. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באונס וברצון, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בכללות דעת, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגילוי עריות, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגילוי סתר, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדיבור פה, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהונאת הרע, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באיחור הלב. חטא שחטאנו לפניך זדון ופשגגה, חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחוזק יד,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביצר הרע, והחטא שחטאנו לפניך ביודעים ולא יודעים, ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו.
Through denial and deceit, for the sin we have committed to you, taking bribes, for the sin we have committed against you by clever cynicism, and for the sins we have committed against you with a shon hara, speaking ill of others.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בעיניים רמות, והחטא שחטאנו לפניך בעזות מצח, ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו.
Against you by throwing off all restraint.
We have sinned against you by rashly judging others.
We have sinned against you by plotting against others.
And we have sinned against you through selfishness.
We have sinned against you through superficiality.
And we have sinned against you through stubbornness.
We have sinned against you by rushing to do evil.
And we have sinned against you through gossip.
We have sinned against you through empty promises.
And we have sinned against you through baseless hatred.
We have sinned against you by betraying trust.
And we have sinned against you by succumbing to confusion. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בתשומת יד, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בתימהון לבב, ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו.
Turn to page 240 and we respond to Jan chanting this section in the middle, Hu Yanenu, may the one who answered all of these people who came before us. So much of our tradition is about Zechut Avot, about the ones before us have been answered, so may we too be answered. May our prayers be answered. May everything we wish for be answered. So the middle of page 240, paragraph Bet.
מי שענה לשרה אימנו בזקנתה,
הו יעננו.
מי שענה לאברהם אבינו בהר המוריה, הו יעננו. מי שענה ליצחק בנם כשנעקד על גבי המזבח,
הו יעננו.
מי שענה לרבקה בהריונה,
הו יעננו.
מי שענה ליעקב בבית אל,
הו יעננו.
מי שענה ללאה בעניה,
הו יעננו.
מי שענה לרחל בעצבונה,
הו יעננו.
מי שענה ליוסף בבית האסורים,
הו יעננו.
מי שענה שענה למילדות העבריות על האבנאים.
Hoyanenu.
מי שענה ליוכבד על שפת היור.
Hoyanenu.
מי שענה לאבותינו ולאמותינו על ים סוף.
Hoyanenu.
מי שענה למשה בחורב.
Hoyanenu.
מי שענה למרים בבירה.
Hoyanenu.
מי שענה לאהרון במחתר.
Hoyanenu.
מי שענה לפנחס בקומו מתוך העדה.
Hoyanenu.
מי שענה לבנות צלף חד בעמדן פתח אוהל מועד.
Hoyanenu.
מי שענה לכל הצדיקים והצדיקות והחסידים והחסידות והתמימים והתמימות והישרים והישרות והרחמנים והרחמניות.
Hoyanenu. And we go now to page 242, Rachamana, paragraph Hey, in the Hebrew. Actually, it's Aramaic. And now we come to our first Avinu Malkeinu of this Yom Kippur on page 243.
Avinu Malkeinu, chatanu lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have sinned in your presence. Avinu Malkeinu. We have no sovereign but you, Avinu Malkeinu. Act toward us kindly in accord with your name. Avinu Malkeinu, make this a good new year for us. Avinu Malkeinu, annul every harsh decree against us. Avinu Malkeinu, nullify the designs of our foes. Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, rid us of disease, plagues, war, hunger, and captivity and destruction. Forgive and pardon all of our sins.
Avinu Malkeinu, hachazirenu b'tshuva v'shlema lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, achzirenu b'tshuva shlema lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, shlach refuah shlema lecholei amecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, shlach refuah shlema lecholei amecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, zachrenu b'zikaron tov lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, zochrenu b'zicharon tov lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, kadvenu b'sefer chaim tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, write us in a book for a good life.
Avinu Malkeinu, kadvenu b'sefer geula v'yeshua.
Avinu Malkeinu, write us in the book for redemption and salvation.
Avinu Malkeinu, kadvenu b'sefer panasa v'chalkala.
Avinu Malkeinu, write us in the book for a sustaining and prosperous life.
Avinu Malkeinu, kadvenu b'sefer zechuyot.
Avinu Malkeinu, kovenu b'sefer zechuyot.
Avinu Malkeinu, kadvenu b'sefer slicha u'mechila.
Avinu Malkeinu, write us in the book of pardon and of forgiveness. Avinu Malkeinu, hatzmach lanu Yeshua b'karov. Avinu Malkeinu, aim keren yisham. Shema kolenu, chus v'rachem aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, kaber rachamim v'ratzon tfilatenu alenu achenu. Na'at hashlichenu reikam lefanecha. Sei lema'an ha'mimemechol.
Avinu Malkeinu, aseh leman ba'evayesh, uvamayim al kiddush shemecha. Avinu Malkeinu,
aseh leman chaim,
im lo lemanenu. Avinu Malkeinu, chaneinu v'aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, chaneinu v'aneinu, ki ein banu masim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, צדקה וחסד והושיענו.
So good to see all your faces. We're coming to the end of our service. We're going to continue with Kaddish Shalom on page 245.
יקרא ויקרא שמי רבה,
אמן.
ויאמר דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי, וחיי חון וימי חון וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה וזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם עולם מעולמיה, יתברך, יתברך, וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. לעילה, לעילה, מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דם ירון בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובאותון, דכל ישראל קדם ובהון דבשמיא ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיא, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו אמן. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגאור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרה בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו וזולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבת אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. על כן נקבל
לך אדוני אלוהינו.
ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמה אחד ושמו אחד.
Before we say Mourner's Kaddish, we'll say Psalm 27, which is on page 248. This beautiful psalm of protection and hope that has been accompanying us since for a while now, actually, over a month. LeDavid. LeDavid Adonai ori v'ishi mimi ra Adonai ma'oz chaya mimi efchad b'krov alai merim le'echol et basari tzarai v'oivai li heima kashalu nafalu im tachanei alai machanei lo yiba libi im takum alai milchama b'zot ani voteach achat she'alti Achat she'alti meit Adonai ota vakesh. Achat she'alti meit Adonai ota vakesh. Shifti bebeit Adonai kol yemei chayai. Lachazor b'noam Adonai ulevaker b'heichalo. Lachazor b'noam Adonai ulevaker b'heichalo. Ki itzbeneni b'suko b'yom ra'ah. Yastireni b'seta oholo b'tzur yameini v'ata yarum roshi al oivai sivavotai ve'ezbecha ba'olo zivchei truah. Hashira v'azamra l'Adonai. Shema Adonai koli ekra v'choneni v'aneni lecha ma libi bakshu fanai panecha Adonai v'akesh al taster panecha mimeni al tat ba'afavadecha ezrati ayita al titsheni v'atazveni al hi ishi ki avi v'ivimi azavuni v'Adonai yasfeni horeni Adonai darkecha necheni me'orech misholeman shorerai ki al titneni b'nefesh sarai ki kamu v'edei sheker v'fer chamas lulei hemanti lirot b'tuv Adonai be'etz chaim Kaveh Adonai chazak v'yamei slibecha v'kaveh el Adonai. As we say Mourner's Kaddish, we, as always, think of those in our community who are in mourning and those who are remembering loved ones on their yard sites. And we're thinking very much of Robin Ronen, who lost her grandmother, Dulce Mercedes Labrador Garcia, whose funeral was on Shabbat, and thinking of you, Robin, as well as Betsy Kessler, who lost her grandmother just before Rosh Hashanah. And of course, we are thinking, I think Jewish communities all around the world are thinking of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who will be buried right after Yom Kippur on Tuesday. Today, Erev Yom Kippur was the yahrzeit of Debbie Madoff's father, Samuel Hirsch, and on Yom Kippur itself, it's the yahrzeit of Nissan Cohen's father, Barry M. Cohen, and Ruth Siegel's mother, Tehila Shapiro, and Arthur Woke's brother, Walter Woke, also, of course, Nina and Faye's uncle, Walter, and coming up in the week, Liz Marlowe's great-grandmother, Dora Price, and Liz Marlowe's great-grandfather, Joseph Kuznets, and Leatrice Siegel's husband, Harry Siegel. And then on Friday, we'll be remembering on Erev Sukkot, Fruma Falik, our beloved school director, who passed away already 8 years ago, and the wife of Josh Falik. And also on Friday is the yahrzeit of Abby Robinson's mother, Aviva Marilyn Robinson. We say Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Kaddish is on page 247. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divra chilutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei t'chol Beit Yisrael, Bagala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitada v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha v'richu. Le'ela le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, kol shvei tevel, v'imru amen. Gemar Chatima Tova, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. There are so many people to thank. A big yesher koach to Jan and to Michelle, to Stacy, and to everybody who's helped us with this amazing accomplishment of these very complicated high holidays. And of course, as always, thank you to Colin, our wonderful tech, who's been working so hard to get us up and running for these very unusual services that we've been having together. But we're here, you're there, we're together, we're not together. Just to remind everybody, tomorrow's beautiful Yom Kippur we're going to have together. We start at 8:30 with Shacharit, and which will be led by Rabbi Rosalie Ozian, and on Rosh Hashanah we start right at Hamelech. So if it's your custom to do the preliminary prayers, the psalms and everything, and the morning blessings, then you are on your own for that. We will come to our Torah service at 9:30, and at 9:30 we've also got our Shalanu service, and our Mishpachti family service is at 10:30. Yizkor will be approximately 11:30. My reflections, sermon, whatever you want to call it, will be at 12:15. Musaf at 1. There's various family programming. Oh, there it is. You can see it yourselves. And just to say about the breakout sessions that we have after Musaf, at 3, we're going to have a fascinating class taught by Dr. Robert Weiner, a psychological midrash of the 4 worlds of the Mourner's Kaddish. And there'll be a yoga class also taught by Karen Robinson at that same time. And then at 4 o'clock, Stacey Aviva Flint, our executive director, is going to be teaching wives' tales and midrash, bringing the wisdom of shared black and Jewish traditions. That's at 4 o'clock, and then we'll start Mincha at 5:30, and we have Jonah like you've never seen it before, with an amazing world premiere of the Jonah story starring Mikey Monster. So that is all to look forward to, and we'll get to Ne'ilah at about 6:30. The fast ends at 7:22. Tikiya Gadola. I'm ready. I mean, I'm not ready, but you know what I mean. And then after Yom Kippur, it doesn't stop. We had a wonderful group of volunteers today put up our sukkah. We have a sukkah ready here at Bonai Shalom. You can reserve space in our sukkah. We're doing it very carefully and cautiously. We do have some services on first day Sukkot, second day Sukkot, and Simchat Torah. We'll be sending out information about what that's going to look like, but we are honoring 2 people who put so much work and effort and love into these high holidays, and that is Sam Flaxman, who is our Chatan Torah, and Rabbi Rosalie Ozian, who is our Kalat Bereshit. And so, don't know the details yet, but it's going to be beautiful and celebratory, and we're going to dance with the Torah. So that's all coming up after Yom Kippur. Thank you so much, everybody, all of our incredible volunteers, our incredible staff under Stacey's leadership, and our volunteers under Michelle's leadership. It's great that you're both able to be here this evening, and it was wonderful to have you two by my side with Torahs in your arms. It felt like yay team. So thank you for that. I think that's it. Anything I've forgotten? Kama Chatima Tova. We're going to end our service with Yigdal, and God willing we will see you tomorrow. Yigdal is on page 250.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא ויהנה אל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו. הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו. לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד, נביא ומביט את אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמו על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו. לא יחל יפעל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמים לזולתו, צופה ויודע, שתעלנו, מביט לסוף דבר, בקדמתו. גומר לאיש חסד, למפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרשעתו. ישלח לקץ ימין, משיחנו, לפדות מחכה קץ ישועתו. מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדעת שם תהילתו. מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדעת שם תהילתו.
Shana Tova Techatemu. May we be sealed in the proverbial book for a good life. Amen. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.